Welcome back to AI Explained. We're going to be diving into um, Grok today,
Uh,
Elon Musk's XAI chatbot.
right.
You guys sent over some really interesting stuff
Uh,
about its expansion beyond just being a part of X.
yeah,
And
it's pretty fascinating.
it is. I'm glad you're here to help break it all down.
Yeah, it's a big move for sure,
Yeah.
especially launching that standalone iOS app.
Yeah.
I mean, now Grok's right on people's phones
Mm-hmm.
in the US, Australia, India, and beyond.
Yeah.
Right there alongside, the big names like ChatGPT and Google
Yeah.
Gemini.
Totally. It's almost like XAI is saying, all right, we're here. We're ready to play in the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like this little feature tucked away in X.
Right.
What do you think this means for the competition?
Well, I mean, the AI chatbot landscape is already so competitive,
For sure.
but what Grok brings to the table is just this really interesting combination of capabilities.
Yeah.
You got the Grok 2 AI model at its core, which allows it to do some pretty cool things like text rewriting and summarization,
Yeah.
answering, those
Yeah.
complex queries.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add in that real-time data access.
That was the part that really caught my eye.
Yeah.
It's not just working off some static data set like we see with some chatbots.
Right.
Grok's pulling from the web and X.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like its knowledge base is always updating.
Constantly updating, yeah.
Does that mean it's more accurate? Or are there like potential downsides to think about?
I definitely think it has the potential to be more accurate.
Okay.
Especially with, topics that are rapidly changing. I
Mhm.
mean, imagine asking Grok about a breaking news story.
Yeah.
It could give you info that's minutes old.
Right.
Not something from, training data from months ago.
Yeah.
The challenge then, of course, becomes
Yeah.
verifying, how reliable those sources are
Oh, right.
in real time.
So it's like a super powerful research tool, but maybe you still need a little bit of healthy skepticism too.
I think that's absolutely key.
It's like, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a whole lot more complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's another layer to this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's not just text.
Grok isn't just about text. No.
All right.
Image generation is a key part of this, too.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting in terms of both the capabilities
Okay.
and the questions that it raises.
All right. Let's get into that.
It uses the Flux AI model for this.
Okay.
So it allows it to create images from, text prompts,
Mm-hmm.
photorealistic images,
Wow.
and even analyze photos that users upload.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Now, there was also some mention of the Aurora model.
right.
I understand that had a very short-lived release, though.
It did, yeah. It was very brief.
What can you tell us about these different models and what they're capable of?
So each model has its own strengths.
Okay.
Flex AI, for example, is really good at creating images with a high level of detail.
Mhm.
Very realistic.
Yeah.
The Aurora model, despite, just that limited release,
Right.
it hinted that XAI is experimenting with some pretty advanced techniques.
Ooh.
Although, the specifics are still a bit of a mystery.
Okay, so it sounds like they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible
Yeah,
with AI image creation,
definitely.
even if it means, maybe a few hiccups along the way.
Right.
But this makes me think about those questions we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
about how to ensure accuracy and responsible use
Yeah.
as these tools become more and more sophisticated.
That's a conversation that, everyone needs to be a part of.
Yeah.
Developers, policymakers, and users alike.
Well said. And speaking of access, it's interesting that Grok was initially only available to paying subscribers of X,
Right.
but now there's a free tier
There is.
accessible through grok.com.
Yep.
What's the strategy there?
Well, it seems like XAI is trying to reach a much wider audience.
Okay.
Putting them in direct competition with the other free and paid AI chatbots
Mm-hmm.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a way for them to gather more user data,
Okay.
refine the model even further,
Yeah.
and maybe even, entice those free users
Mm-hmm.
to eventually explore, those added benefits of X Premium.
So it's a classic freemium model,
Kind of, yeah.
but with the potential for like a deeper integration
Right.
into the X ecosystem.
Exactly.
It's a smart move to tap into that bigger user base
Mm-hmm.
who might already be familiar with AI assistants on their phones.
For sure.
But what does this mean for those folks who are already X premium subscribers?
Right.
Are they getting left behind?
That's where I think the idea of value-added services comes in.
Okay.
XAI could offer those premium users
Mm-hmm.
exclusive access to advanced features within Grok.
Like what?
Well, things like priority access to those new model updates,
Okay.
higher usage limits,
Yeah.
Maybe even personalized AI coaching?
Interesting. So you're essentially creating this tiered system
Right.
that caters to different needs and
Yeah.
levels of engagement.
It's
But let's not forget, like, the core of all of this.
right.
What does it all mean for the average user?
Yeah.
The person who's, like, thinking about downloading the Grok app
Mhm.
or visiting grok.com for the first time.
I think for them, it's about opening up a world of possibilities.
Okay.
Imagine having access to a tool that can answer your questions
Mm-hmm.
with like up-to-the-minute information,
Yeah.
help you write,
Mm-hmm.
summarize text,
Yeah.
even create images based on your imagination.
Wow.
That's the power of Grok.
It sounds like science fiction.
It really does.
But we also need to be mindful of those potential downsides we talked about.
Right.
Like that need for critical thinking
For sure.
and understanding the limitations
Yes.
of any AI tool.
Precisely. AI can enhance our capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't replace human judgment and critical analysis.
Right.
In fact, I think those skills become even more important
Okay.
as we navigate this world of, increasingly sophisticated information tools.
That's a great point. Now, I'm curious about something else.
Okay.
We talked about the potential for XAI to, like, integrate Grok
Mhm.
into X premium features.
Right.
What could that look like in practice?
Okay, so imagine you're reading a news article on X and you have a question
Okay.
about a specific term or concept
Yeah.
with Grok integrated. You could just seamlessly ask it for a definition,
Okay.
background information,
Yeah.
maybe even alternative perspectives on that topic,
Wow.
all without ever leaving the X platform,
So it's like having an expert on call,
right?
ready to provide context
Mm-hmm.
and deepen your understanding
Exactly.
of anything you come across on X.
Yeah,
That's pretty powerful,
it is.
especially for, like, complex topics.
Right.
Or areas where maybe you're not an expert.
It could also enhance content creation.
Oh, how so?
Let's say you're writing a post on X
Okay.
and you want to include an image. Instead of, searching through stock photos or trying to create something yourself,
Right.
you could just describe the image to Grok
Oh, wow.
and have it generate one that fits perfectly
Interesting.
with your message.
So it's like streamlining that whole creative process
Yes.
and making it more accessible,
Uh-huh.
regardless of your technical skills.
Sure.
That's a really compelling vision for how AI can, augment human capabilities.
Definitely.
But there's one aspect we haven't really touched on yet,
Okay.
and it's something you alluded to earlier, the ethical considerations
Right.
surrounding AI.
Yeah.
How does XAI approach responsible development of these tools?
Yeah, it's a big question
Yeah.
and one that every company working on AI needs to really think about.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't have specific details about, XAI's internal processes or guidelines.
Yeah.
But what we can look at is how Grok has been designed and the features they've chosen to prioritize.
So it's more about, like, inferring their approach
Yeah.
based on what we see in the product itself.
Exactly. For
Okay.
example, the fact that they built in real-time data access,
Mhm.
but also emphasize the need for critical thinking,
Right.
suggests they're aware of, both the benefits and the pitfalls of
Right.
this technology.
So they're acknowledging that AI is this powerful tool,
Yeah.
but it's ultimately up to the users
Mm-hmm.
to wield it responsibly.
Right.
It's a shared responsibility
Mm-hmm.
between the creators and the users
Yeah,
to ensure these technologies are used for good.
for sure.
But speaking of responsible use,
Okay.
there's one area I think deserves a deeper dive.
Mm-hmm.
That whole question of image generation
Right.
and copyright.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a legal and ethical minefield right now, isn't it?
It really is. We're in uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
With AI creating images that are often indistinguishable from human-made art. Raises all sorts of questions about ownership,
Yeah.
fair use,
Yeah, right.
and the potential for misuse.
Okay, let's break this down for our listener.
Right.
What are some of the specific concerns
Mm-hmm.
around copyright
Yeah.
when it comes to AI image generation?
Well, one key issue is that AI models are trained
Yeah.
on massive data sets of images,
Mm-hmm.
many of which are copyrighted.
Okay.
This means that the AI can potentially generate images that are very similar to existing works,
Okay.
or even replicate them,
Right.
leading to potential infringement claims.
So even if a user isn't intentionally trying to copy someone's work,
Yeah.
the AI itself could accidentally create something
Right.
that infringes on copyright.
That's right.
That's a tricky situation,
It is.
especially for users who might not be aware of the legal complexities.
Exactly. And it raises questions about who's responsible.
Yeah.
Is it the user,
Right.
the company that created the model,
Mm-hmm.
or even the owners of the images that were used in the training data?
It's a gray area.
Very much so.
And I don't think the legal system has fully figured out yet.
No, they're still working on
It
that.
sounds like we're going to need some new legal frameworks
Yeah, I think so.
to navigate this. But what about the ethical side of things?
Right.
Beyond just the legal issues,
Mhm.
are there broader concerns about how AI image generation
Oh, yeah.
might impact artists
Yeah.
and the creative process?
Definitely some artists worry that, AI could devalue their work,
Mm-hmm.
making it easier for just anyone to create art
Right.
without the same level of skill
Yeah.
or effort.
Okay.
There are also questions about AI being used to create deepfakes or manipulate images
Right.
in ways that could be harmful
Yeah.
or misleading.
It's a good reminder that every technological advancement
Mhm.
comes with its own set of challenges
For sure.
and ethical dilemmas.
Absolutely.
It's not enough to just focus on the amazing capabilities of AI.
Right.
We need to have these conversations
Yeah.
about responsible use,
Mhm.
potential risks,
Yeah.
and how to make sure these tools are used ethically
So
and for the benefit of society.
it requires a real collaborative effort
Yep.
between developers, policymakers,
Mm-hmm.
artists, and the public
For sure.
to navigate this complex landscape.
It's a lot to consider,
It is.
but it's an important part of this conversation. We can't shy away from these challenges
Right.
as we explore this incredible potential of AI.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's bring it back to Grok specifically.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone
Mm-hmm.
who's excited to use these image generation capabilities,
Yeah.
but also wants to be mindful
Mm.
of these ethical and legal considerations?
I would say be informed,
Okay.
be responsible, and be creative.
Okay.
Understand how AI image generation works.
Yeah.
Be aware of those potential copyright issues and use the tool in a way that respects the work of other artists.
Okay.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Explore,
Mhm.
push the boundaries of your own creativity
Well.
with this new technology.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
Be mindful of the risks, but don't let them stifle your creative spirit.
Exactly.
AI is a tool,
Mm-hmm.
and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
It's up to us to shape its future
For sure.
and ensure that it's used to enhance our lives
Yeah.
and empower our creative potential.
I agree.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from the launch of Grok's standalone app
Mhm.
to the complexities of AI image generation
Yeah.
and the ethical considerations around it.
You're right.
We've really taken a deep dive
A deep dive, for sure.
into this fascinating and rapidly evolving field.
It has been a pleasure talking about this with you
Likewise,
and with our listeners.
absolutely a huge thank you to our listener
Guys, thank you.
for sending in their questions and research on Grok.
Hmm.
We hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding
Yeah.
of this powerful new tool
Mm.
and its potential impact on the world.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, if you found this exploration of Grok and AI image generation insightful, be sure to subscribe to AI Explained for more deep dives into the topics shaping our technological future.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.
Yes,
The future of AI is in our hands.
it is.
Right.
Take care. You too.